Welcome back to the How to Hardscape Pricing Landscaping Jobs course. Like I said in Unit 1, this is for any contractor that's sending out budgets or estimates and quotes to their customer. So be sure to tune into this one. Unit 2, creating a budget and everything that's going into your budget. So beginning at the very start of your season, you should be implementing a budget that's going to help you make sure that you are forecasting and including all the numbers into every quote that's going out. So when you're starting that, you need to think about the duration of your season. How many weeks is in your season? How many weeks are you working each season as a business and staying afloat? So for us in Ontario here, Canada, and we are only doing hardscape installs, we really only have around 30 to 36 weeks a season. And what we do is we look at the previous year's totals of weeks that we worked, that we were able to get in before the ground froze or before things got too messy. So we look at last year's numbers and we implement them for this year's, for the amount of weeks that we're able to budget for our season. And then we can budget the amount of days a week that we're going to work as a company. Is it going to be 5 days, 6 days? How many days are you able to work per day as a company? And we're going to budget that into our. And then how many hours per day are you going to work? So if you're working a regular 8-hour day, or are you going to work more? And how many more hours of overtime are you going to be implementing into your budget for your workers? Because you need to make sure that you're multiplying that overtime amount when you're budgeting the amount of money that's going to be going out the door extra for those overtime hours. But we're going to get into overtime pay a little bit later and how to budget for that. But for now, we can multiply the weeks by the days by the hours to give us a total of working hours per season, that per person rather, that we can budget. And this is extremely important when we are looking at how many hours we have in a season available to us to make back all of our expenses, all of our labor costs, all of our material costs, as well as the profit that we want to earn. So this number is extremely important to you. So make sure you take some time in budgeting how long your season is, how many weeks do you want to budget for. Be realistic in the amount of days and hours you can work in a day to make sure that you're not over budgeting or under budgeting. And then comes the question, crews and divisions, because this is extremely important as well in being able to identify how many crews do you have available to you and how many divisions are in your business, because these are going to change your numbers drastically. So getting into crews and divisions, crews we define in our business as similar in project type, size, and equipment. So any crew that is similar in a project type that they might tackle, size, including people or that project type, as well as equipment that's going into that crew. For example, 2 crews doing large size hardscape jobs, we would identify those as 2 very similar crews. And why we identify them as crews is really crucial, because we're going to take the amount of overhead expenses that we have and we're going to divide it by 2, so that we're not covering our overhead expenses double. If that makes sense, because if our overhead expenses for our business that we need to cover, and we're going to get into overhead expenses, but if our overhead expenses for the year is $10,000 and we have 1 crew, we're trying to earn back $10,000 plus our profit, plus our labor costs, and so on. But if we have 2 crews earning back $10,000 each, we've now earned back $20,000 of our $10,000 overhead cost, which would be great if it was possible to be able to budget and to quote and to put out quotes out there that are going to earn us that amount of money. But with our overhead expenses, we want to be realistic and we want to make sure that our quotes that we're putting out there are going to be accepted. So in this case, we're not trying to earn back $20,000 of our $10,000. We're just trying to earn back $10,000. So those crews would be each trying to earn back $5,000. Now, perhaps you have a crew, many different crews that are doing different things or have different equipment in them. Then we would call that a division. Now, a division we would define in our business as doing different projects types sizes, and equipment in those different crews that would make up a different division. Why this is important? Well, an example of a division would be one maintenance crew, one hardscape crew, one restoration crew, paver restoration or ceiling crew, whatever it may be. And these can get combined into a one crew. So say you have a restoration crew and a hardscape crew, but it's just one crew, but they do both. That's fine. Keep it as one crew in your business. But if you have distinct people in your business with distinct equipment that do specific things in your business, we would call those divisions, because then we can create a budget for each of these divisions. So our maintenance crew would have equipment that's specific to them, people that are specific to them. So we would create a budget specific to that division. Same with our hardscape crew and same with our restoration crew. If they were always doing different things with different equipment and they have different people in them. That's important because we would create a budget specific to each of those divisions. And if we only have crews, then we would just have one budget, but we would encapsulate all those crews into that one budget. So that's what's extremely important between crews and divisions and how we define them in our business. So when it comes to this, there are many different ways to go about creating your budget and quoting a project, estimating a project. And we're going through just one specific way to do this. There are many different acceptable ways, but this is the way that I found to be the most easiest in my business, and the one that you can create a system around that anybody can pick up in your business so that you can put this onto somebody else's plate so that you can do more important things, so that you can systematize this in your business, so that you can pass this down to any other salesperson in your business and they can come up with the exact same number that you would. So another way to go about doing this that we're not going to get into because it complicates things and it has more room for error is that you can assign specific equipment to specific jobs. But by doing this and assigning people to specific jobs, but by doing this, you might miss somebody in the whole process, or you might, miss a piece of equipment, or if a piece of equipment is not even being used on a project or any of the projects at a specific time, it's not being billed out to anybody. So that's coming out of your pocket. So the way that we're going about this is an averaging everything out to make sure that you're getting paid for. And that's the end of this unit number 2, in creating a budget and everything that I wanted to get into with creating a budget. Now, this is an extremely important part of it. So spend some time in thinking these things through and deciding how you're going to break down your business, how much time is in your season, and so on. And remember that if you have any questions, you can reach out to us on our social channels. We are at How to Hardscape on Instagram and Facebook. And you can contact us through email, contact@howtohardscape.com. You can also be sure to check out our product, our estimate and budget spreadsheet that goes through all this for you and helps you implement this into a system that you can pass down through your business.